elemental rod. I should take this back to the altar. Perhaps I should try this somewhere else. This does not work. The old magic still holds. Oster smiles upon me. It is one of the elemental rods. The patterns do not match. Only one more to go. Blessings of the goddess. Just what I was looking for. There. Finished.
The moon seals are ancient talismans of the old gods. And in your case, they are the keys to unlocking an even greater gift.
Is that why Wanda was here? In pursuit of this gift?
Just as we started with you as a child, I allowed Wanda to experiment here, with the hope of focusing her powers through training in basic elemental magic.
But that is not what happened.
Wanda's connection to the old gods, to Chthon, was not the same as yours. She isn't descended from the blood, and the trials weren't meant for her.
But you knew this before she started?
I did. And you should understand that I regret not putting a stop to her efforts sooner.
Then what really happened here?
When Wanda tried to use this moon seal to access the next trial, the Bloodgate didn't open. But the seal's power did have an effect. She had visions, both terrible and somehow alluring at the same time. What started as idle curiosity became a compulsion for her.
And now I am on the same path. So where is the next Bloodgate?
Beyond the Standing Stones, if memory serves. I doubt you'll have any trouble finding it. We may have woken you up to save the world, but just think where the Abbey would be without your efforts, Hunter. The magical energies flowing through the grounds are converging on the altar, drawn to it like moths to a flame.
As a child, it never occurred to me how important this altar was to you.
Where would a fabled witch be without her various accoutrements? Just as your swords are an extension of your power, so too are my altar, the cauldron, and the library.
And now that the altar has been restored?
It's time we start using them to our advantage. Come by the library tomorrow night, and we'll conjure something together. Oh, and thank you again for the help, dear.
I should come back another night.
A few of us are meeting up tonight. It's a book club. You're probably busy, but if not, the others said I should invite you.
A book club?
Yeah, I didn't figure the great and powerful Hunter would be into a book club.
If it is worth reading, I am interested.
All our books are worth reading. Anyway, I'm headed to the meeting. I doubt it's your thing, but if you're interested, you could tag along.
After you.
Okay then.
Blade's giving you the stink eye. Or maybe he doesn't like the punch. Either way, I think he wants to speak with you.
Here's how this works. We pick out a book, we read the book, and then next meeting we talk about the book. It's my turn to pick, so give me a minute. I need to narrow it down.
What kind of book is a book club book?
The good ones, that's the plan at least.
Did you already talk about today's book?
Well, no, there isn't one for today.
What is the best book you have read so far?
None.
You have not read any books, but you are starting a book club?
Hunter, I've read half the books in the library. I have too many favorites to list. I meant I have no book club favorites yet.
You are being evasive, and I do not know why.
This is technically our first meeting.
I thought this was a regular thing you did.
Yeah, I want it to be. Doesn't matter how sharp your weapons are if your mind is as dull as a brick. Just give me some space. I need to find the right book if I'm going to. I need to pick the right book, okay?
All right.
This is the first book club I've been to that didn't devolve into a knockdown, drag-out fight.
Must have been some book club.
A few years back, Bruce and Tony started an Avengers literature circle. First book chosen was Banner's favorite. Tony hated it. Said it was the worst poetry he'd ever read. That a mascara-blinded lab monkey could have written it better. I still don't know what that means. Turned out, it wasn't Banner's favorite book. It was Hulk's.
Oh no.
We lost 2 floors of Avengers Tower before he calmed down.
What happened next?
Black Widow invoked the "this is why we can't have nice things" rule and banned book clubs from meeting at the tower.
I hope I have time for this. I used to be in one of these with my friend Jess, but it fell apart.
What happened?
I got reassigned, she had a kid, aliens invaded, the usual.
Aliens?
Yeah, it's been a busy decade.
New York, what a town. All right, I made my decision.
So, what is it going to be?
The first book we'll read for book club will be The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Ooh, a classic.
Yep, that's an old book.
Way older than The Hunter.
How old is this book?
5th century BCE. Ancient and still relevant.
Can you give me a quick summary?
It's about war. Come on, Hunter.
I cannot wait to check it out.
Was that a library pun?
I do not know. How would you say it stacks up?
Stop. Right now, or so help me, I will ban you from book club. Anyway, our time is tight, I get it. But stop by the library and read the book before the next meeting. But I hope you read the whole thing. This book is one of my favorites.
The katana gave that away.
Yeah, I'm always around if you want to chat about it.
I'll save it for the next book club.
I could chat about it.
Nah, I'm good.
I admit, I like the low-pressure approach we're taking to book club. These things should be fun and informative. Not the high-stakes powder keg of the Stark and Banner book club regime.
What did you think of the meeting?
Seems like a great way to get to know each other.
What do you think of Blade's choice of book?
It got me thinking about a book I can choose. It'll have to be a good one to match Blade's pick.
See you later.
Next time, then.
I think that went well. Carol seemed to enjoy herself. What do you think?
Blade, did you start a book club so Carol would join it?
No. Yes. Sort of. We were talking about books, and I may have suggested the two of us read a book and talk about it. Captain America overheard and expressed interest. Carol said I was starting a book club, and he asked if he could join.
Then what?
What was I supposed to do? Say no to Captain America?
Knowledge is the key to a person's heart.
You think?
It might be the key to Carol's heart.
The key to mine is a silver stake, so you got the better end of the deal. Glad you came, Hunter, but don't forget to do the reading.
All right, I will.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, hey there, fellow night owl.
What are you up so late reading?
The twisted brain drippings of that psycho Faustus? This journal is like a love letter to Aleister Crowley, the Necronomicon, Jack the Ripper, and Charles Manson, all remixed into some nightmarish open mic poetry. I'm going to be up all night trying to make sense of it, see if it helps us find our way back into the sanctum.
There is no offense worse than poorly written poetry.
Maybe my open mic poetry analogy was too generous. It's not even good enough to be bad. Makes me miss those 12-hour poetry slams in the East Village, and I thought that was torture. Check this out. Lilith, your name is a black hole for men like me to lose their souls. How I await to be suffocated in your arms, choke on the dark tendrils of your hair. Murder me, goddess, and I will help you murder this dimension.
Someone should warn my mother.
Oh yeah, poor Lilith. Even she can do better than Faustus. All I can say is Hydra's got a real HR problem on their slimy hands. Well, I ought to get back to burning the midnight oil. I got about 400 pages to go of this crap. I'll let you know what I find out.
Hunter, stay a while. I do not want to be alone.
Magic, are you all right?
No, Hunter, I am not. And neither is Limbo. The dark energy is increasing.
This danger you feel, have you given more thought to what could be causing it?
Yes, but I do not want to say it out loud.
Would it be easier to write it down then?
I see what you did there, Hunter. But no, writing his name down would feel like I was summoning him. Words have power. I do not want to give him any more than he already has.
He?
If I am right, you will see soon enough. But tonight, that's all I can say.
Man, I think they got the hell right on one of those traffic cams.
Robbie, what was most important to you before you were pulled into this life?
Same thing as after. My little brother Gabe. He may be on the other side of the country, but he's what keeps me going.
Gabe must be proud of his big brother.
Yeah, he is. Oh, you mean for what we're doing here? Nah, he doesn't know that part of my life.
Are you ever going to tell him?
I don't know. Maybe one day? For now, He just needs Robbie in his life.
He is a lucky kid.
Thanks, Hunter. Wish we could do this all day. Hunter, I have a feeling we're gonna go on lots of adventures together. We should challenge Nico and Eliana to a game of hearts. Hey, look who's awake.
The second blood gate. I should warn you, Hunter. You may find the trial ahead more difficult than I originally let on. The gods will push you harder, and you might very well fail.
And if I do?
You dust yourself off and you get back in there. Or you train, rethink your approach, and come back later, when you feel ready.
And what if I am hurt? Or worse still, what if something happened to Charlie?
Neither of you will be harmed, dear. That's not what this is about. The Elder Gods want to see what you're made of, but they're not out to get you. Well, except Chthon, but you already knew that.
Then I should make an attempt while I am here.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Just enjoy yourself. You're the only one getting an opportunity like this.
I will do my best.
Oh, and Hunter? I should mention, you'll only be able to make one attempt at the trials per night. Even the old gods grow weary of their children eventually. Good luck.
This looks like it's
With a tomb's help, you shouldn't have any trouble uncovering the more elusive elements hidden throughout the grounds. Why don't you try out his blessing on that stone over there?
Autumn be praised. Autumn reveals all. Something terrible happened here. This area, it feels wrong somehow. I sense an old suffering.
Members of the local coven were persecuted here. and worse.
Witches?
Salem's history with witches may have been distorted over the years, but some things are true. The witches of Salem did their best to thwart Shaw, but he rallied his congregation against them. The catalyst of the infamous Salem witch trials. When the Coven called out in distress, it was Lilith and Sarah who came to their aid.
They came all the way from Transia, with the Abbey, to help a group they had never met?
You may not believe it, but I'm sure you would have done the same. Isn't that why the Sons are here today? Aside from that, your mother and Sarah both saw the signs of Chthon's influence. They knew there was more happening in Salem than the persecution of witches.
Chthon's corruption had taken root in the New World, just like the colonists themselves.
And while Lilith and Sarah were still preoccupied in Transia, they entrusted one of the moon seals to the Knights of Wondergore, who brought it to the Coven with the hope that its power would reinforce them enough to deal with Shaw.
But that is not what happened.
Unfortunately, no. When the plague came to Salem, the same one that afflicted your father, Shaw used it to further agitate his flock by placing the blame squarely on the Coven.
And the witches?
The mob was vicious. And the rest is history.
But what about the moon seal?
After the trials, the moon seal vanished along with Shaw. Without drawing any conclusions, I think we can both guess where it went.
If this was his church, then it is possible the seal is still here, or somewhere nearby.
You read my mind. Good hunting, dear.
Was this always here? I may have forgotten a few things, but I feel as if I would remember a decrepit church on the grounds.
You may not remember the structure, but maybe you've heard of the man responsible for it? Hiram Shaw? This was his house of worship, and like a great many things on the grounds, Sarah preferred to keep it in a sort of mystic quarantine. Even I haven't been inside.
Is that all she did while I slept? Seal things off for our protection?
She can be overzealous at times, but in this case, she was right to be wary.
So what dark secret does this place hold?
When Hiram Shaw first came to Salem, he was little more than a charlatan posing as a preacher. He managed to convince a few desperate souls to join his congregation, and with their help, he broke ground on this church. Whether it was coincidence or fate, in digging beneath the church, Shaw found something that would change the course of all of our lives. A long-forgotten page of the Darkhold.
If Shaw found a page of the Darkhold, it was because Chthon wanted it that way.
I tend to agree. That cursed book is always seeking out a way to return its master to power.
And a power-hungry preacher makes for the ideal messenger of darkness.
Yes, Shaw was an eager study, consumed almost immediately by the whisperings of Chthon and the Darkhold's power. Nearly overnight, the people of Salem, old and new, were at his threshold, waiting for the word.
Tell me about Hiram Shaw.
By all accounts, Hiram Shaw was a desperate man. Desperate for power, wealth, influence, the usual desires that cloud men's minds. As I understand it, he was a largely unsuccessful minister before his arrival at Salem, traveling from place to place, swindling whatever followers he managed to gain before being run out of town. To think that a simple man like Shaw finding a piece of the Darkhold was enough to set all of this in motion, it puts things in perspective.
what do you know about my father?
That's not an easy question, dear. What would you like to know? Was he a good man? Yes, I think he was. Your mother loved him dearly, and he doted over her. I think for a time she forgot who she was, where she came from. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. She and Sarah both deserve to find something more than just another fight with Chthon. Lilith did. Sarah didn't. At least, not for a while longer still. I honestly think that's the only thing she ever had against him, blood or not. Until we speak again.
This must be Shaw's study. She believes in our purpose. This ward is not like anything I have seen on the grounds before.
And yet, it's familiar somehow.
Like the wards of protection that Wanda invoked to protect Dr. Strange's sanctum?
Very perceptive, dear. Maybe you should approach the good doctor and see if he has any insights. And Hunter, be circumspect. Dr. Strange is no fool. It's always good to see you.
Did Wanda ever make it to this place?
I suspect she did. But if she discovered something, she didn't tell me. Goodbye, for now.
Ah, Hunter, I was just admiring the collection. Someone spent a great deal of time piecing this library together. I hope you don't mind me, having a look around.
Of course not, Doctor. The library is an asset to us all.
I see I'm not the only one who's taken an interest in these works. You haven't been getting into anything precarious, I hope?
I have found something on the Abbey grounds that I think you should see.
Oh, sounds mysterious. By all means, lead the way. I typically avoid venturing this far from the Abbey, especially at night. It makes Tony nervous, you see. Not in the "I'm concerned about your personal well-being, Doctor" sense. I think he's actually more afraid of what might happen to my side of the forge without proper supervision. There's an unsettling air about this place.
This church belonged to a preacher named Hiram Shaw. His influence turned Salem against its coven.
A charismatic personality and a fearful populace can do much evil together.
There was more to it than that.
Yes, I suspected as much. You were right to bring this to my attention, Hunter.
I thought it resembled one of your wards of protection.
There's a reason for that. It's the same magic Wanda invoked in her attempts to protect the Sanctum. But what is it that you're chasing out here? These wards aren't something to toy with.
I will not know for sure until I get past this. Is there any way to dispel it?
Unfortunately, no. What good would the wards of protection be if they were so easily broken? But I have been wrong before, at least recently. Do you have any suspicions as to who may have conjured this here?
Wanda spent a great deal of time out here, and she had the power.
She does have some experience with these spells, but why would she do that?
The only way I will know for sure is to find a way through to the other side.
I'll think on it and see if I can come up with some way to assist you, Hunter. For now, though, you'll have to be patient. You go on, Hunter. I'd like to study this area a bit more.
He sees the path. The son of Gaia approves. Curious. Agatha, what is this?
The corrupted influence of the Elder God Chthon. But we won't be able to heal the Abbey grounds until we've recovered the Moon Seal, stolen by Hiram Shaw.
Remind me about the seal?
I think you've gotten ahead of yourself, dear. You'll need to find the Moon Seal first. A trial awaits you.
If I remember correctly, this is the grave of Will Walker, a notoriously vicious but effective vampire hunter. Blade would have liked him. Autumn, show me the way. Noble Ashtur guides my hand. I need to find the next moon seal. Blessings of the goddess. Agatha's house. Fascinating. Autumn be praised.
Privyet, Hunter.
I have something for you.
Oh?
Here you are.
Wonderful. We can use it in the ritual.
Hunter?
I have heard that Wanda's power comes from Chthon.
The way I understand it, as a child, Wanda and her family lived in Transia, not far from Mount Wundagore. Within that mountain, the dark god Chthon had long been imprisoned, his corruptive influence an ongoing threat to the people of Transia.
And Wanda was affected?
Whether Chthon reached out to Wanda, or he found her by chance, I can't say. But Wanda was blessed or cursed by Chthon, touched by the power of chaos magic. While he had hoped to make her some sort of acolyte, she proved to be more capable than even he foresaw.
What can you tell me about Chthon?
One of the first Elder Gods, Chthon is said to have existed for tens of millions of years, well before the dawn of humanity on Earth. Believe it or not, he wasn't always the bastion of evil that we know today.
This story sounds familiar.
As the legend goes, the downfall of the old gods was actually brought upon by Chthon's brother Set, who found that by consuming his siblings, he could gain their power. After Set consumed Hypus, Chthon followed suit with the others, and in this way, many of the first gods also became the first demons.
And how did he come to be imprisoned on Earth?
In the same way Hydra has worked to restore Lilith, various cultists of the past sought to revive Chthon to wield his power. When Chthon failed to cooperate, these same cultists did the only thing they could. They locked him away again.
What do you know about Transia?
Transia is your ancestral homeland, Hunter. The birthplace of Lilith and Caretaker. It has always been a sort of magical junction, drawing in every type of occultist, sorcerer, and even the occasional Elder God. The Abbey grounds still behave in much the same way, even after all this time.
And Wundagore?
Wundagore Mountain has always played a prominent role in whatever scheme was underway. Chthon himself is said to have created the Darkhold, deep within the caverns of the mountain.
What was Caretaker like when she was younger?
I'm sure it's difficult to remember now, but Sarah wasn't always the steadfast contrarian. In our younger days, she was much more enthusiastic about dashing off to save the day, not unlike some of our younger allies among the Suns.
That does not sound like the Caretaker we know and love.
Keep in mind, Hunter, Sarah has faced a great deal of loss in her time here. Everyone she ever cared about, in fact. I would say she's earned the right to be disagreeable, at the very least. She is a very strong woman. I'm not sure I would have held up as well given the same circumstances.
Who were the Knights of Wundagore?
Another mysterious group of heroes in a world full of mysterious groups. Of course, I'm no expert on Transian history. I do know that the Knights of Wundagore were formed as a response to the growing threat of Chthon's influence near the mountain.
What exactly did they do?
Hydra was hardly the first to dabble in chthonic schemes. Many have tried and failed to awaken the Dark God. Over the centuries, the Knights fought alongside a number of allies who stood against the various crazed worshippers of Chthon.
You were there? At the witch trials?
Not initially, no. If I had been, I like to think I could have stopped them before it was too late. I sensed something was wrong, and when the witches cried out in distress, I came to Salem as quickly as I could.
But Shaw had already committed his crimes against them?
Yes. It was a devastating discovery. And for the longest time, I blamed myself.
But you see now it was not your fault.
I've come to understand that we must accept the past and move on. But that doesn't mean I won't always carry that pain with me.
I know that feeling all too well.
I know. And I wish you didn't, dear. I really do.